We are living in a very strange paradox of the modern world. People are living longer than ever before. Medicine has advanced. Life expectancy keeps rising year after year. And yet, at the same time, loneliness is growing faster than it ever has. Families are becoming smaller. Friends are living farther apart. And as age increases, many people begin to feel something that is difficult to put into words. They are slowly losing their place. Not because they are weak, not because they failed to try, but because today's society is designed for speed, for productivity, for people who must constantly prove that they are still useful. At a certain stage of life, the question is no longer how much money you make. The question becomes, are you still seen? Are you still listened to? Or are you gradually becoming invisible in a world that never slows down? And then, another question appears quietly, but honestly, if you no longer want to prove anything, which society allows you to simply be yourself. This video does not promote paradise. It does not promise a perfect life, and it does not sell dating fantasies. We are only talking about real places on the map, societies where you can actually live, stay long-term, and most importantly, not be pushed aside simply because you have already passed the first half of your life. If you are looking for a place that does not force you to run faster, does not demand that you prove your value every single day, then stay with us until the end of this video. You may just find a choice that fits the person you are becoming. Country 5. Vietnam. Quiet respect. Mornings in Da Nang begin slowly. The sea is calm. The riverside roads are still quiet. In a small cafe overlooking the water, you'll often see older men sitting silently, sipping their coffee, watching the waves drift by. No one asks, "What do you do for a living?" No one measures your worth by your job title. Here, your presence alone is enough. Age does not push you to the margins. It is simply accepted as a natural part of life. Vietnam does not approach foreigners with spectacle. It does not try to convince you with slogans or big promises. Everything happens in a very ordinary way. And it is precisely that ordinariness that creates a rare sense of ease, the feeling of being allowed to exist without constantly explaining yourself. When it comes to cost of living, Vietnam is one of the few places in Asia where the numbers still feel real. In Da Nang or Hoi An, you can rent a clean, well-equipped apartment for around $350 to $550 a month. Local food is simple, fresh, and affordable. A full meal often costs just $2 to $3. When you add everything together, including rent, food, transportation, and daily expenses, many people live comfortably on $700 to $900 a month without sacrificing quality of life. But money is not the main reason many people stay. What truly matters is how society views age. In Vietnamese culture, older people are generally assumed to have lived, learned, and endured, and therefore deserve respect. Age is not a disadvantage in relationships. It does not place you behind. Instead, it carries calmness, reliability, and trust. Relationships here move slowly, quietly, and realistically. There is no rush, no performance. Things unfold step by step, based on observation and understanding rather than grand promises. Healthcare in Vietnam is also changing rapidly. In major cities like Ho Chi Minh City and Da Nang, international private hospitals have expanded significantly with well-trained doctors, many educated or experienced abroad. Medical checkups and treatments cost a fraction of what they do in Western countries, making healthcare far less stressful for those living on fixed incomes. For many, this alone makes Vietnam a serious long-term option. That said, it's important to be honest. Vietnam is not a place where everything is prepared for you. There is currently no official retirement visa. Most long-term foreign residents stay through visa extensions, business visas, or small-scale investments. This requires flexibility, adaptability, and a willingness to accept some uncertainty. If you need a rigid, perfectly structured system, Vietnam may feel exhausting. Language can also be a barrier. English is not spoken evenly, especially outside expat areas. Administrative procedures are not always consistent and can change over time. Vietnam is not a country where everything runs according to a manual, but in exchange, it offers something deeply human, a way of life that bends and adjusts if you learn to move with it. Vietnam offers respect quietly, not through grand words or special privileges, but by leaving you alone. And in return, it asks that you adapt, that you slow down, that you accept not everything is designed around you, and for many people, that very truth becomes the reason they choose to stay. Country 4. Cambodia, a slow, clear rhythm of life. Afternoons in Siem Reap do not arrive with the sound of traffic horns, but with sunlight slowly tilting across narrow streets. This is a city that does not rush you anywhere, nor does it pull you into a crowded schedule. Everything moves slowly, slow enough for you to hear the wind in the trees, slow enough for a day to feel complete without having to achieve anything. In Cambodia, no one pushes you to move faster, and no one forces you to become a different version of yourself. Cambodia is not a place that tries to compete. It does not measure itself against bigger cities in the region. Instead, it chooses a different path, one that is simple, clear, and low pressure. For many people who have already passed the first half of life, that lack of competition brings a rare sense of relief. You are not interrogated about your past. You are not judged by your current speed. You are simply seen as someone living, and that is enough. The cost of living reflects this rhythm. In Siem Reap, or in quieter areas around Phnom Penh, a clean, fully furnished apartment can be rented for around $300 to $450 a month. When you add up daily expenses, food, utilities, transportation, many people live comfortably on $600 to $800 a month. There is no need for extreme sacrifice, no need to calculate every single day. Life here is affordable, but more importantly, it is not stressful. Social life in Cambodia still carries a strong sense of family and community tradition. Stability is highly valued. Older people are often seen as reliable, someone to trust, not someone to question. Age does not make you suspicious. It brings seriousness and responsibility, qualities that still matter here. Relationships move slowly but clearly. There is little ambiguity, little performance. Things develop step by step with intention. Healthcare in Cambodia does not try to impress, but it can be sufficient if you choose wisely. Private hospitals in Phnom Penh and Siem Reap handle basic to moderate medical needs at costs far lower than in Western countries. Many expatriates supplement local care with international health insurance for added peace of mind. The system is not perfect, but for many it is enough to live without constant worry. One of Cambodia's strongest advantages is its visa system. The ER visa for foreigners aged 55 and older is relatively simple, easy to renew, and involves minimal bureaucratic pressure. You are not constantly required to prove yourself. You are not trapped in complex paperwork cycles. For those seeking long-term stay without administrative stress, this makes a meaningful difference. Of course, Cambodia is not for everyone. Infrastructure is uneven. Some areas lack modern conveniences. High-end entertainment options are limited. If you need a fully developed, highly diversified system, you may feel constrained. But if what you are looking for is peace, a life without too many forced choices, Cambodia may be the right place. Cambodia does not offer you many options, but in return, it offers you calm. Country 3. Philippines, the ability to form emotional connections. Evenings in Cebu do not begin with silence, but with the sound of life. Voices drift out of open homes. Children run through small yards. Adults gather after a long day. In the Philippines, evening is not a time to retreat inward. It is when community becomes most visible. Families come together. Neighbors stop by. And if you stay long enough, you are no longer an outsider. The Philippines is a deeply human society. Here, you are not absorbed into a system. You are recognized through relationships. People remember you because you stayed, because you listened, because you were present. For many older men, this feeling matters more than money. Feeling of being connected, being acknowledged, being invited into the lives of others. The cost of living in the Philippines remains manageable. In Cebu or other mid-sized cities, you can rent an apartment for around $300 to $500 per month. When all expenses are added, food, utilities, transportation, total monthly living costs typically range from $800 to $1,000. It may not be the cheapest option in the region, but it allows for a comfortable life when you embrace a local pace. In Filipino society, family sits at the center of everything. Age is not seen as being out of sync or outdated. Instead, it is closely associated with responsibility, maturity, and commitment. Older men are not pushed aside in relationships. They are often seen as people who have lived enough to understand what truly matters. Healthcare is another clear advantage. Private hospitals in Cebu, Manila, and Davao are well-equipped, professionally staffed, and notably accessible for foreigners. English is widely spoken among medical personnel, removing one of the biggest sources of stress for long-term residents who depend on regular care. Visas are also a major strength. The SRRV program offers a clear and stable path to long-term residency. The process is transparent, legal status is secure, and the sense of uncertainty is minimal. For many people, this alone makes the Philippines a serious option for the later chapters of life. Of course, there are trade-offs. Infrastructure is uneven. Some areas are overcrowded, noisy, and chaotic. Life here is not always orderly or punctual. But for those who can accept these imperfections, the Philippines offers something increasingly rare in the modern world: genuine emotional connection. The Philippines does not sell systems. It sells people. Country. 2. Thailand, the normalization of age. Mornings in Chiang Mai do not make you feel like a foreigner. On shaded side streets, you'll see older men walking slowly, stopping to buy breakfast, sitting at familiar cafes, exchanging a few casual words with local vendors. No one is curious. No one judges. No one asks why you live alone or what stage of life you are in. In Thailand, age is not something you have to explain. It is treated as a natural part of the rhythm of life. What makes Thailand special is not preferential treatment, but normalization. You are not treated as a special guest, yet you are not pushed to the margins either. Older people exist here in a very natural way. Age is associated with life experience and calmness, not decline. And that creates a rare sense of relief. You no longer need to prove that you are still keeping up. In terms of cost of living, Thailand is no longer the cheapest country in Southeast Asia, but it remains well balanced. In Chiang Mai or other secondary cities, a comfortable apartment typically costs between $350 and $550 per month. When all expenses are included, food, transportation, utilities, monthly living costs usually fall between $900 and $100. This is not a survival budget. It is a stable, comfortable way of living without daily financial pressure. Socially, Thailand shows a clear acceptance of people who live alone, especially older individuals. There is no constant scrutiny and no excessive curiosity. Relationships here tend to be clear, slow, and practical. Nothing is rushed. Nothing is ambiguous. Things move forward only when both sides are ready. Age does not create special advantages, but it is also not a disadvantage, and that balance is precisely the strength. Healthcare is one of Thailand's strongest pillars. The country is widely recognized as a leading medical hub in Southeast Asia, with modern private hospitals, highly trained doctors, and a strong medical tourism sector. For many older foreigners, this alone becomes a deciding factor. Healthcare here is not only high quality, but also accessible and transparent in terms of cost. Visas are another area where Thailand offers clarity. Retirement visas are well defined with specific financial requirements and standardized procedures. You know exactly what is expected, how much you need to prepare, and what steps come next. In return, visas must be renewed regularly, and compliance is required. Thailand does not operate on informal flexibility, but in exchange it offers certainty. Of course, Thailand is not without flaws. Some tourist areas have become overly commercialized, crowded, and disconnected from everyday life. If you judge the country solely by those places, Thailand can feel exhausting. But if you choose the right city, the right pace, and the right expectations, Thailand offers something increasingly rare: the feeling of living a normal life at an age when many societies make you feel out of place. Thailand does not give you privileges, it gives you normalcy, and for many people, that is freedom. Country: Georgia, Eurasia. Freedom without explanation. There are places that welcome you with smiles, and there are deeper places that welcome you with silence. Georgia belongs to the second kind. Mornings in Kutaisi or Batumi do not begin with questions. You step onto the street, pass a small bakery, order a black coffee, sit on a bench, and watch people go by. No one asks who you are. No one is curious about what you do for a living, how long you have been here, or how long you plan to stay. In Georgia, privacy is not a privilege, it is the default. And for many who have already passed the first half of life, that feeling is deeply liberating. Georgia does not try to please you. People here are direct without artificial politeness, and they do not speak unless they mean it. You are not pulled into empty conversations. But when you do sit together, when you share a meal or a glass of wine, sincerity becomes unmistakable. Age does not need to be explained here. It is treated as something personal, not a metric to judge, and not a resource to exploit. In terms of cost of living, Georgia remains one of the rare places on the edge of Europe where a modest budget can still support a dignified life. In Kutaisi or Batumi, you can rent an apartment for about $250 to $400 per month. When you add daily expenses, food, transportation, utilities, many people live comfortably on $600 to $800 a month. It is not glamorous, it is not excessive, but it is enough to live without constant financial anxiety. What truly sets Georgia apart is its very concrete form of freedom. U.S. citizens can stay for up to 365 days without a visa, no residency card, no complex approvals. You arrive, you stay, you live. For those exhausted by paperwork renewals and the feeling of constantly needing permission just to exist somewhere, this brings a genuine sense of relief. Of course, Georgia is not perfect. This is Eastern Europe, with cold winters, a quieter rhythm, and little appeal for those seeking tropical climates or non-stop energy. Services are not always smooth. Life here asks you to accept simplicity, sometimes even austerity. But in exchange, it offers something increasingly rare, the feeling of being able to live without having to explain your existence. Georgia does not promise you a new life. It offers something far rarer: freedom without justification. If today's video touched you in any way, don't hesitate to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support isn't just a number, it's what gives us the motivation to keep going, to tell deeper stories, and to bring you honest perspectives about life in places that are rarely talked about. Take a moment to watch the next video appearing on your screen. There's a good chance it will make you pause and reflect not just about where to go, but about how you want to live the next chapter of your life. And if you have a thought, a feeling, or a country you've always been curious about but never seriously considered, please leave a comment below. We read every one of them, we listen carefully, and many of our future journeys begin with your words. Which country would you like us to explore next? A quieter place? A more affordable one? Or somewhere that finally feels like home? Thank you for staying with us until the very end. Thank you for being part of this journey, a journey that isn't just about geography, but about people choices and the freedom to live life on your own terms. Please hit like to help this video reach others who may need it, and subscribe so we can meet again in the stories ahead. See you very soon.